What's one thing that made you say never f-king again? And why? Meth. I was a hardcore amphetamine pill addict and said fuck it one night and smoked a shitload of meth. I was up for 2 or 3 days. By the last day I was well into psychosis and left town. Stayed in a hotel room for a few days to make sure I didn't become a meth addict and to evaluate what the FCK I was doing with my life. I didn't stop the pills immediately, but I'm never f-king doing meth again. I take a prescription amphetamine daily. I once took a hit of meth that my brother offered me. Not my cup of tea. It was like all the side effects got magnified x10. Debating on the internet. Too many people think of like a competition you can win with a snappy comeback. Too many people forget they're talking to actual people and actually try to see their side of things. Now instead I try to rationalize my position and see their side. The only problem is I still end up arguing with people who are just there to mock me or to make snappy comebacks. I wish it wasn't so hard to find people who will actually have legitimate, open, constructive conversations despite disagreeing. I'm sick of people verbally crucifying me en masse because of a difference of opinion with no effort to talk beyond trying to tear me apart more. Even when we come away still very much disagreeing. I love a good civil conversation about any given topic. Hanging out with someone who's a self-admitted asshole. He proved himself right. Was talking to a guy at my bar who owns his own business and he was talking about bad interviews when hiring people. He talked about one young guy who said he wanted to be paid under the table because he gets social security disability checks and didn't want to lose them. The owner asked why he gets SS checks. The guy said because I can't keep my mouth shut. To which the owner asked him, if he can't keep his mouth shut, why should he hire him? Something to do with a neurological disorder he supposedly faked to get his checks. So I told the owner guy, well, he couldn't keep his mouth shut about faking a disorder, thus proving himself right anyway. Double quote. College class at 8 AM as a night owl. Man, I was just the opposite. Get done with class early every day, like 11 AM. And have the entire day to hang out, nap, etc. Such a great time in life. Peppermint essential oil. Why? My darling spouse read online you could use it on lady bits to provide a tingling sensation. Decided to do so to me. Didn't read the bit about majorly diluting it first. The result? The sensation of 1,000 fire ants biting my most intimate parts while simultaneously being submerged in lava. And since it's an oil, washing it off did jack shit. I sobbed in a half-full bathtub while scrubbing my cooch with a towel doused in vegetable oil, the remedy. According to the internet. 0/10 do not recommend. Never again. Edit. A number. Oh god. You've reminded me of when I was about 17. I had a boyfriend who was a bit older but also a complete f-king idiot. One day he offers me a full body massage and I'm like sweet. Dot. As he's doing it he tells me he's going to use tiger balm instead of oil. I asked what that was and he told me it's what they use for massage in his culture. He is Chinese. I'm NZ European. I was like okay whatever. Next minute. I had that same sensation over my entire body. Including my lady parts. Had an hour-long shower and I was still suffering. Chinese people do not put tiger balm all over their bodies. This guy used to say and do all sorts of dumb shit and then would pretend it was Chinese culture to avoid looking like an idiot. On the other hand, you can rub it on your forehead and temples when you have a headache or migraine and it works wonderfully. Working retail. I think it's something every young person should do. Once. People suck. Especially with our bullshit culture of the customer is always right. I heard the customer is always right really just means that the market will show who has the right ideas by who succeeds. I had my gallbladder removed after a gallstone. I thought I was having a heart attack and called an ambulance. While I waited I started arrange all of my finances for my wife. The hospital ran a zillion tests. Told me it was a gallstone. And the only real solution was to remove the whole gallbladder if it came back. If it came back? Asterisk. Yup. Fuck that shit. I told the doctor I would never go through that pain again and he could schedule me for surgery then and there. I've had women tell me the pain from a gallstone lodged in the duct is worse than childbirth and I believe them. No way was I going through that again. Open up my home to help someone. She ended up being a manipulative, miserable cuss of a person who made my and my children's lives miserable. My husband, now ex, refused to see beyond her vagina and ignored his own kids' pleas for help. Kids and I moved out and he's now miserable and alone with no relationship with his kids. CNT left him at the first sign of his financial troubles. My mother let a homeless woman and her boyfriend move into her and my dad's house because the woman had just had a baby, which had immediately been taken by the state. Whoops. The woman got a hold of my mom's credit card information and started making purchases with it. When my mom found out, she couldn't kick them out of the house because they'd already been there for a month and were protected by tenant laws. My mom had to go to court to get an eviction process started. Meanwhile, there they were, still living in the house, and would have probably continued to steal from my mom if she hadn't cancelled all her cards immediately. So yeah, hard lesson to learn. But don't let near strangers move into your house, even if to help them. Getting an endometrial biopsy. Worst pain of my life. If I ever get cancer they can just take the whole damn uterus out. I'm not going through that again without anesthesia. I was terrified of mine because of stories like yours. Had it 2 weeks ago and it didn't hurt worse than a pap. My doctor couldn't even believe how smooth it went for me. I'm sorry you had to go through so much pain though. Doing cocaine for 8 straight hours. The come down was quite possibly the most hellish experience of my life. Yep. Sounds like you probably did a whole gram to yourself. That's a bad come down. Now try doing that 2 nights straight. The weirdest part? When I had a bit of a problem with it and did it every day. I didn't even get come downs anymore, just felt a bit tired and wiped out and that's it. Alcohol and cocaine. Almost ruined my life. Started drinking at 16. Started doing coke at 26. And took till I was damn near 41 to quit. Dumped my last baggie of blowout beside my garage 23 years ago and haven't touched the shitty since. Planet Fitness. They wanted me to come into the gym with COVID in order to cancel. The only other option was to send a certified letter which I would have had to walk into a post office in order to send. Which was equally bad. Never f***ing again. I'm buying a treadmill and weight set. They told me that crap a long time ago. I just kept calling and asking for a manager to insist he cancel my membership, hoping that over time sheer strength of will would win. Finally, after the month of paid member dues was nearly expired and they would still refuse, I reported my debit card lost. They started calling asking me to come in and update my payment info, but I just returned the favor and gave them the runaround. Eventually they gave in and cancelled it without me having to go in person or pay to send a certified letter. I had no good reason for doing this. In fact, I lived a 5-minute walk away. Except that I think this policy is ludicrous and I'm a stubborn bastard. Almost every weekend I watch the Cowboys. Because they usually cowboys it up pretty good. I'm from Cleveland, I get it. It's like a emotionally abusive relationship. Yeah. Never buying weed again after wasting nearly $500 a month on weed during 5 years of university. $500 on average per month. 12 months x $500 equals $6. 000. $6,000 x 5 years equals $30. 000 I wasted on weed when I could have been a smart person and saved that money in order to pay off some of my student loan debt. Note: this does not account for the thousands of dollars wasted on beer and liquor per month of those 5 years in university. If factored in and accounted for on average, then it will show that I wasted a fuck ton of my possible savings, thus leading to me to be in severe debt, along with a bunch of other factors adding onto my debt. So note to any future college students: don't waste all your money on weed and alcohol. Driving through an intersection immediately upon my light changing to green. Some arsehole ran a red one day and almost T-boned me on the driver's side. Never again. I always wait for a few seconds before I start driving through an intersection. Longer if there is a blind corner. If you ride a motorbike, always wait a few seconds. The number of twats who jump lights because they don't see the bike straight away is scary. Balut. It's an age-fertilized egg. Popular in Filipino cuisine. It was not good. FCK. You just gave me a bad flashback. When I was 12, my Filipino grandmother decided to take us on a family trip to the town she grew up in. There was a lot of distant family there I had never met. And one of them thought it would be funny to give the American kid some balut without telling me what it was. It was gross at first bite. But I threw up when I realized why it was crunchy. Living with a couple. Roommates suck in general, but 3 times in my life I split an apartment with a couple and it was awkward at best. And truly miserable when they fought. We were the couple and it's the worst. I tried to tell my partner that privacy beats savings, but nah. Finally got him to agree that the peace of mind is worth it. Getting back together with an ex. If it didn't work out the first time, it's likely that it won't the second time either. Especially if that person relationship was toxic to begin with. Learned that the hard way. It was worse the second time. But at least I had her out of my system and could move on. Ate a whole bag of cooked Chinese peanuts so my shitty was I stuck on the shitter for hours on end and I couldn't leave the house without risking shitting myself. There were these amazing cinnamon almonds from Target that I used to snack on. I had too many one time and was late for work because I was on the shitter and sweating my brains out from shitting so much. Smoking weed. My anxiety went through the roof. And I had one of the most miserable nights of my life. Weed enthusiasts keep telling me that there are different strains that cause different highs. But I don't give a shit. It also depends on the amount you smoke. For some reason people seem to ignore that when doing things for the first time you should try a tiny bit and go from there. So many times. I've seen people try smoking for the first time. Rip a huge bong hit. And then get sick or pass out. Just try a little bit and see how it feels so you can gauge the feeling. Not sure if that's the reason for your situation. But sorry you didn't have a good time. What? Speed dating? Why? Took me weeks to recover from that horrible experience. Fuck. I dressed up for speed dating. I didn't match with anyone. A week later someone texted me saying, hey, I think we matched but the numbers got mixed up. Are you so and so? Double quote. I get excited. It's actually just my brother's friend F-king with me. Nobody matched with me. Drinking and driving. Thought I was fine to drive home. I got on the freeway. Went to go over 1 lane. Next thing I realize I've gone over 4 lanes and I'm about to hit the cement barrier. Scared me enough to never do it again. I left a buddy's house after thinking I had sobered up enough to drive. Suddenly I was home and barely remembered the drive at all. That was enough to scare me off driving after any amount of drinking. Dating dudes. I'm a guy. Had nothing but problems with them. Been with a girl for over 10 years now. She's the best gaming buddy. Yesterday I was in a hurry and not being very safe and put a 1-stroke 4 drill bit through my hand. Could have been 100% avoided by taking even the slightest of safety precautions, but I was frustrated and rushing to finish. Never again will I not take the simple moments to do it correctly. Kinda tame. But the time I ate a Cadbury egg. I have a huge sweet tooth. But holy shit. I never realized something could be that sweet. A single one of those fuckers caused me actual physical pain that lasted over an hour. I didn't even know that was possible. Buying food in the airport. The regret. Fuck. Never again. So overpriced. I know it's justified, but damn, a 400% value increase. I'm gfo of there. Drinking about 5 cans of Spike energy drink in one sitting. Ended up awake the whole night and into the morning. Mountain biking. Driving on a road near a sheer cliff is bad enough. No, I don't want to get out of my car and ride a bike next to it. Anal sex. Ouch to the 10th degree. IO. Amniocentesis. Having a giant needle stuck through my pregnant belly and being dug around to get a sample triggered my fight flight, and I was sweating so much from the intensity. I didn't watch while they did it, but my mother-in-law was there and started crying while they were digging around. She held my hand, looked at me with tears in her eyes and tried to calmly say, "It's okay. You're okay." I still have nightmares about it 10 years later. Wasabi infused masago roe on sushi. Try something new, I said to myself. You're on a nice date in a foreign country. See what it's like. What a disaster. Season 6 of Walking Dead. Why did I even let it get that far? I made it so season 8 I think before I finally quit. I missed the finale when it aired and forgot to record it. But I realized I didn't care that I missed it. I didn't enjoy the show past season 4. But yet I kept watching because of sunk cost fallacy. Saying I'm a pop fan IRL. Ended up getting water dunked on my head. Called gay and my ride was left, so I had to walk almost 10 kilometers home. So I do it online instead. That seems a rather extreme reaction to finding out someone likes Korean music. I mean, I'm not a fan of it, but I can't imagine dumping out my cup or leaving a friend stranded over it. Some people are just jerks. When I was like 11 I had some friends, the kids that lived next door, over, and we were just hanging out. Playing video games all night. My mom ordered Papa John's for us. We tore the pizza up like the ravenous savages we were and continued gaming. That night the boy stayed over while his sisters and little brother went back home. We go to bed that night and at some point one of us, can't remember who, began to throw up. Which woke the other one up. My mom rushes in and helps clean up the mess. Once the vomiting stops we go back to bed. But then before long ITD stopped again. Just like before. Sometimes I was first. Sometimes it was him. Sometimes we could get to the bathroom on time. Sometimes we couldn't. My mother, the saint of a woman she is, cleaned up all of that vomit. Apparently things were no better at their house. To this day, some 15 years later, I refuse to eat Papa John's. I'm sure it was just a one-time thing, but once was enough. In-game microtransactions on Call of Duty. Somehow, Activision managed to lose my account after I invested well over $100 into the game. Not including the game itself. I literally lost everything in that game. Along with purchases. My multiplayer progress was completely reset. 14 days of in-game time. Gone to waste. Thanks Activision. You dirty, greedy cunts. Roller coasters. I tried them when I was a kid and hated them. Gave them another shot as an adult thinking maybe I would like them and still hated them. I've come to accept that I will never find them enjoyable. So why torture myself? It sucks because people seem to have so much fun on them and I'm stuck being the person holding other people's stuff at carnivals and amusement parks. Cheap hotels. I stayed at a hotel that seemed nice online at a decent rate, but when I got there it was a shitty hole. Walls were a weird yellow color. Bathroom was disgusting. Clerk was some nasty woman stuffing her face with fast food. Sketchy people everywhere smoking. The room had its fire alarm missing and the hole stuffed with paper. The wall outlet covers were broken and had exposed outlets. From that point on I vowed to spend whatever it took to make sure I stayed at a nice hotel.